One of the things I didn't understand when I first started really even seeking therapy years ago, which is a very short timeline. Some of you know that story of how bad it went. But even becoming a therapist myself is, when is therapy applicable? I always thought that you had to have like this horrendous trauma, or you had to be so massively depressed you couldn't get out of bed or couldn't find a job. I thought that's what therapy was for. And definitely that's a good application of it, of when to do it. But over the years, and I grow as a therapist, just like many of you grow, hopefully by listening to some of these, or grow in your own art form or grow in your own career. What I've learned over the last decades is that so much of what goes on in our lives and the way that we struggle with either anger, anxiety, depression, guilt, the feelings of whether it's outbursts on the anger side or really even outbursts of the sad or depressive side, which feels like different ends of the spectrum, and I guess in reaction it might be, but it's still covering the same thing, right? We are reacting to what our brain has learned that our environment requires. So one of the things that I'm never really surprised about anymore is how much childhood trauma there is out there. Adults with childhood trauma. I tell people that's one of my specialties because it's so prevalent, and I had to get better at being able to treat that. I had to take more training, up my education level, get more experience, talk to longtime mentors that deal with adults with childhood trauma. Because when I started that road of specialty, I thought, oh, here's a niche that I can fit into, like this is around. No, it's freaking everywhere. And I don't mean just the real far end of the spectrum, which I'll be careful about because it's going on YouTube, but really bad shit parents do to kids. The worst, right? People that belong in wood chippers. Even on the other side, which can feel equally as detrimental to a kid: neglect, lack of love, a parent leaving. So many, here's what I've learned. So many kids learned that they were bad or believed that they were bad because of things that happened in their lives, and they never unlearned that. And when you're 30 and 40 and 50 and things are happening, you're just adding more crap to the crap pile that you're not a good person, that you're not a good kid, that you're a complete screw up. All those stories that I constantly hear of, this would happen on the farm and dad would, scream at me like I'm an idiot, or I'd get a bad grade. Even to the extreme sounding things like very inappropriate things. I'll let you use your imagination because I don't want canceled on YouTube again. So a lot of kids learn early that they're bad kids, whether being directly taught that or it just comes through a series of crappy parenting because their parents sucked. And it's so prevalent in today. You have to unlearn that. Now you can't unlearn the past. You can't undo history. You can't change the way that you responded or reacted in the time. But here's what you can learn. You're not helpless and hopeless and not good enough, because that's the shit that gets re-triggered when trauma comes up again. It used to kind of surprise me maybe 8 or 9 years ago that when we'd be working with a current issue, say outbursts, anger outbursts, and we figure out that the negative cognition of that is I'm not good enough. That truck just blew the red light at full speed. Wow. Glad nobody got hurt. So that's what they learned. And that this is negative cognition that I was talking about is the not good enoughs. And then when we use some very direct questioning and some very direct somatic sensation stuff, when I ask the question, when's the earliest in your life you remember feeling this way? This not good enough, I'm a bad person, I'm terrible, I'm a screw up, and that physical sensation that you get from that somatic sensing. When's the earliest in your life that you remember that? I'm no longer amazed anymore or surprised when people say, oh, it was 7 when this happened, or 10, or 12, or 15, or 20. You still just be young. You don't have to be a child. But they learn that they're not good enough. And that anger outburst today, while not excusing it in any way, I had to learn to control it too. Learn where it came from and control it. While that anger outburst today is so closely connected to that exact same reaction when you screw up that you're not good enough, and here's your dad in his flannel shirt screaming at you that you're a piece of crap or being physically abusive to you. And people don't understand or think why that these things are connected. Guess what you have to treat first? Not today. EMDR is very much about past, present, and future. We have to hit all three tenets of that, which is what I love about it most. It's not just about dealing with today's experiences or thoughts. But you're probably not starting with today as the issue. It's not the real one. If I can be of help in any way, please look me up, theangryvikingtherapist.com. I'm an EMDR specialist, and I want to see people get better. I want to see people start to live the life free of those overreactions.